Nobody warns you that one of the first real tests of marriage might be trying to buy a townhouse in Northern Virginia together. Not the wedding, not the seating chart, not your uncle getting drunk at the reception, not the first dance. The real test, trying to decide whether you should spend another $38,000 for the slightly nicer kitchen in a market where somebody just waived inspection, waived appraisal, and apparently offered their firstborn child to get the house. Because here's what happens. You get married, you come back from the honeymoon, you're still emotionally glowing. You're calling each other husband and wife in public for the first few times. And then suddenly, you open up Zillow. Dangerous moment. Now, one of you is sending Arlington listings at midnight. The other is panicking about monthly payments. One of you wants cute and walkable. The other wants space and parking. One of you says, we don't need that much. The other says, but what about our future kids? And suddenly, your romantic newlywed season becomes, should we buy in Alexandria or Springfield? And why is this condo fee $917 a month? Today, we're going to talk about all of it. Not fake HGTV fantasy, real Northern Virginia newlywed home buying. The emotional side, the financial side, the relationship side, the mistakes, the hidden stress nobody talks about, the things that actually matter 5 years later. And we're also going to talk about something unusual, why your wedding dance may have secretly prepared you for buying a home together. And that's because my wife Deborah and I also own the Wedding Dance Specialist here in the DC area. And after teaching thousands of engaged couples over the years, I've realized something fascinating. The couples who learn to dance well together often learn to navigate life well together too. Buying your first home together in Northern Virginia is a dance, a stressful one sometimes, but it is still a dance. So if you're newly engaged, newly married, thinking about buying, or wondering if you're financially insane for even considering it here in Northern Virginia, this video is for you. And by the end of this video, I think you're going to feel calmer, smarter, and a whole lot more prepared. I still remember the emotional feeling Deborah and I had when we bought our first place together after getting married. The wedding is the major emotional milestone when two souls and two families converge. Buying your first home together is a financial and legal commitment. The wedding is public, family, guests, celebration, tradition. But the home, that's private life. That's where your routines begin, where your future starts forming, where your arguments sometimes happen, where your holiday traditions begin, where you learn each other's habits. That first place becomes the laboratory of your marriage. And you never fully forget it. You remember assembling furniture together at 11 p.m., daily multiple trips to Home Depot to get your home set up, the excitement when you first get your keys, eating takeout on the floor because you don't own enough furniture yet, your first overnight guest, your first holidays or Thanksgiving, your housewarming party, painting your bedroom or removing wallpaper with your family or friends, and your first, oh wow, home ownership can be expensive moment. Now I'm going to come back to that last one later in this video and explore some of the myths around renting versus buying and how home ownership actually helps you build wealth and your financial future. So please stick around for that. In Northern Virginia, the emotions are amplified because this area is intense. People here are ambitious, competitive, highly educated, financially driven, and newly married couples can start feeling behind very quickly here, especially because social media creates this illusion that everybody else your age already owns a beautifully renovated kitchen, a designer living room, a Peloton room, a wine fridge, and somehow also has no financial stress whatsoever. Meanwhile, you're sitting there debating whether buying organic blueberries is now a luxury expense. That's life. One of my goals in this video is to calm people down a little bit. Comparison destroys smart decision making, especially early on in marriage. And by the way, later in this video, I'm going to tell you the single biggest mistake I see newly married Northern Virginia couples make when buying their first home. And it has almost nothing to do with interest rates. It's psychological, and it quietly creates years of stress for people. So stay with me for that. Northern Virginia creates a very strange emotional environment for young couples. This region compresses wealth, ambition, and status into a relatively small geographic area. You can literally drive from a modest condo to $3 million homes, to embassies, to Amazon HQ2, to political power, to old money neighborhoods, to hyper-competitive school districts within a very short distance. And for newlyweds, that creates enormous pressure. You'll attend weddings where one couple's parents gave them a down payment. Another couple bought in North Arlington at age 28. Another already renovated their kitchen, and another somehow bought in McLean, and you're wondering if they secretly own a cryptocurrency empire. And if you're not careful, you stop building your life and you start emotionally reacting to everybody else's timeline. And that's dangerous, especially in marriage. Early marriage should not become, let's financially suffocate ourselves to impress people we barely even like. That is not the goal. One of the most interesting things Deborah and I have observed over the years through the wedding dance specialists, when couples come in for dance lessons, it's rarely just about dancing. You start seeing relationship dynamics almost immediately. And honestly, it's beautiful sometimes. You'll see nervousness, humor, perfectionism, insecurity, leadership, patience, frustration, teamwork, and vulnerability. Sometimes the bride is nervous. Sometimes the groom is terrified. Sometimes one learns faster. Sometimes one overthinks. Sometimes one apologizes too much. Sometimes one tries to control everything. And the couples who ultimately do best, it's usually not the perfect couples. It's the adaptable couples. The couples who laugh, recover, adjust, encourage each other. That matters enormously in home buying too. Buying a home together is one giant series of imperfect moments. You may lose out in a bidding war, disagree about neighborhoods, panic over interest rates, discover hidden repair issues, get emotionally attached too quickly to a home, change your minds repeatedly. And couples who survive that process well usually learn one huge lesson. You are not opponents, you are dance partners. That shift changes everything. If you're watching this and you're recently engaged, congratulations. We can help you invest in your relationship and future, whether you need first dance help, wedding guidance, or nesting newlywed real estate guidance. Deborah and I truly love helping couples through these significant life transitions. Okay, here's the mistake I teased earlier. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I see. Newly married couples often buy based on their fantasy future identity instead of their current real-life lifestyle. This happens constantly. They buy too large, too expensive, too far out, too ambitious, too future perfect. Instead of asking what will make our actual daily life happier right now, that's the better question. Because I've seen couples buy giant suburban homes only to realize they hate the commute, they miss walkability, they feel isolated, they never use half the rooms, and they become house poor. Meanwhile, another couple buys a smaller townhouse in a more connected location, and they're happier. They go out more, see friends more, feel less financial pressure, travel more, fight less about money. All of that matters a lot, especially in the first 5 years of marriage. I remember one younger couple who became obsessed with finding the perfect forever home. And every house became, maybe someday when we have 4 kids. Meanwhile, they didn't even have 1 child yet. They skipped over several homes that actually fit their current life beautifully. Finally, I asked them, describe your actual Wednesday night. Not your fantasy future, not Instagram, not 10 years from now, your actual Wednesday night. And suddenly, the conversation changed completely. Most of their real life involved work, gym, restaurants, friends, commuting, and weekend outings, not hosting Thanksgiving for 28 people in a giant formal dining room. That reframed everything for them. Let me give you some practical advice now, especially for Northern Virginia. Number 1, keep more cash reserves than you think necessary. Everything costs more after buying. Everything. Moving, repairs, furniture, blinds, tools, random Target runs where somehow you spend $417. You want breathing room. Number 2, don't ignore relationship and lifestyle logistics. This matters more than granite countertops. Questions like who commutes farther? Who works from home? Who needs quiet space? Who cooks more? How often do you host? How important is proximity to your family and friends? These are marriage questions disguised as real estate questions. Number 3, your first home does not need to be your forever home. I always say the third home is the forever home. This mindset saves people enormous stress, especially in Northern Virginia. Your first place is often a stepping stone, an equity builder, a lifestyle fit for this chapter of your life. That's okay. Number 4, don't buy emotionally exhausted. This is huge in the competitive markets we have. Fatigued buyers make bad decisions. Sometimes the smartest thing is pause, reset, reevaluate. Most newlyweds don't avoid buying because they've run the numbers perfectly. They avoid buying because a few fears get louder than the facts. The big ones are the monthly payment fear. They look at the payment and panic, but they don't compare it to years of rent, that builds nothing, no equity. Down payment confusion. They assume they need 20% down when many buyers don't. Waiting for the market to crash. That sounds smart, but most people who say that never actually buy when the prices dip. They just find a new reason to wait. Commitment anxiety. Buying feels permanent, but your first home doesn't have to be your forever home. Perfectionism. A lot of couples skip the starter home because they're waiting for the dream home, and that can cost them years. Believing rent is safer. Renting feels safer because it's temporary, but long term, it often leaves you with no equity, no appreciation, and no financial momentum. And finally, short-term thinking versus long-term wealth. That's the real issue. Newlyweds don't need perfect timing, they need a smart first step. Buying is how many couples stop just paying for housing and start building wealth through it. And this is where the long-term picture matters. If you look at the homeowner versus renter net worth chart, the gap is enormous. The 2026 forecast shows homeowners at about $446,000 in median net worth compared to $12,000 for renters. That's roughly 37 times higher. So for a lot of newlyweds, buying isn't just about having a place to live. It's about getting into the game of building equity and creating real wealth over time. One thing that helps me guide couples through this process is that my background is unusually interdisciplinary. Before real estate, I was an attorney, so I naturally think about contracts, risk, negotiation, liability, long-term consequences. After more than 20 years in Northern Virginia real estate, I also deeply understand the emotional side of transition. And through our wedding dance business and premarital coaching business, Deborah and I have spent years helping couples navigate milestone moments together, which gives us a surprisingly unique lens. We're not just looking at square footage, we're looking at lifestyle, communication, compatibility, long-term happiness, and helping a couple prepare for their first dance and then later helping them buy their first home. There's something incredibly meaningful about that. We're helping people build a life. Years from now, you probably won't remember the exact interest rate on your first home, the appliance model numbers, the HOA documents, but you will remember how excited you felt getting the keys, your first night there, your first meal together, feelings of possibility. Your first home together represents something much bigger than real estate. It represents we're building a life now, and that's sacred. So if you're newly engaged, newly married, or thinking about buying your first home in Northern Virginia, reach out to me anytime. Whether you need neighborhood guidance, a realistic budget advice, condo versus townhouse strategy, first-time buyer planning, or yes, even first dance lessons before all of that, Deborah and I would genuinely love to help. And if this video helped you, subscribe to the channel because we talk about real life in Northern Virginia, not just houses, life transitions, relationships, lifestyle decisions, and how to build a meaningful life here without losing your sanity in the process. I'll see you in the next video.